when it's the end of the world and you focus your efforts on rebuilding the old church. Really obvious CGI.
What the hell are you doing?
Scaring the birds away.
These two come up with a genuinely good idea as to how to keep the birds away from eating all of their crops, and Daryl just comes along and kills it for no reason, basically being a massive dick. Also though, his whole deal has always been collecting the arrows that he fires, which gave him a seemingly infinite supply, but now he's just straight up not even bothering anymore, and so might as well switch to a firearm in all honesty. Also guys and gals, if you want to see more Everything Wrong with The Walking Dead, be sure to like this video and leave a comment. Any support on Patreon would be nice too, as I'm spending probably 10 hours writing, recording and editing these videos just for you all, as most of my revenue comes from my other channels, so it's very much appreciated if you can help out. Also quickly, if you're curious as to why I'm back doing these, I've had a lot of people say they dislike TV Sins videos from the past 2 years and honestly prefer mine, so I figured I'd come back in my free time and entertain y'all. And now let's get back into it.
You teach me sometime?
I got a kids class at the Hilltop you could audit. Maggie will be there. Carol sometimes shows up when she's in town.
Did he just say he can audit the class he teaches kids when he asked if he could teach him to kick up high? Also, bruh, not gonna lie, it's incredibly cringe that Jesus is going around kicking them, like it's so obvious he wants to show off, as opposed to taking them out in the most easy method possible, that being using a bladed weapon. I love how they're all clearly using horses and stuff in order to remain pretty quiet while in a city, and then you got big bad boy Daryl being all like, ah hell no, I need my incredibly noisy motorbike with a finite amount of petrol or whatever they use. So I mentioned this in my Red Hot Garbage video, which by the way I took down as YouTube got really up on the whole censorship or else we won't give you any ad revenue thing, and so I'll say the same thing here. This intro just looks plain awful, I genuinely believe that. It's just horrible CGI and looks like a terrible video game near the end. For some unknown reason, Carol was unable to take this one out.
This is gonna work.
Having seen this episode about a year or so ago when I made the previously mentioned series, I'm now left genuinely pondering what the this actually is that's going to work in her mind. Because they never used this building for anything that she's peering at, she didn't know if they had the gear they were looking for there, and she also didn't know what kind of wagon they'd find and if they would even be able to get it outside. But of course, if in a later episode it turns out she uses this place for something, if I remember, I'll remove the sin. Basement Ninja Walker! They stay really silent and they act real quick. They don't make sense because they should react to sound. Basement Ninja Walker!
You were right, Anne.
How'd you know to find seats here?
Brought my class back when I was teaching.
And yet she never decided to go there before now and collect those very useful seats because...
Is he still sore about the results?
He's being friendly. It's weird, honestly.
Because friendly and weird are strangely synonymous.
So far, so good.
So I got a couple sins here that I pointed out during the last video. First and foremost, they really don't have to go this way across the glass, like the longest possible route over it. They could have easily gone directly to the left or the right. Secondly, this glass was designed in spite of however many years have passed to be able to hold thousands of kilograms of weight from throngs of visitors, and thus an old wooden cart with metal wheels wouldn't be enough to break it. That's just plain old silly. At this stage, it would be the sheer height of stupidity for Carol to remain pushing it from the rear when you can easily step off the glass and continue to pull it off, and I feel like no one would do this in real life. Yet another double sin because I forgot about this, but why wouldn't Daryl and Rick just place the wooden canoe over the edge of the stairs where it's perfectly safe? And also, why on earth are Carol and the King walking around on the middle of the glass like it's so difficult to wait off of it for Rick and Daryl to finish with the canoe?
Hey.
Last but not least, they could have very easily also put that piece of equipment over the edge of the staircase, and my god, they're dumb in this. I swear to god, it hurts my brain a little bit. I've got some blood coming from my nose. It's nuts. Honestly, I'm shocked how no one has ever mentioned the bike and how noisy it is, especially since it is ultimately what may have brought the horde upon them in a few minutes' time, and yet it's never even brought up.
2 other herds merged into Sylvia, so now it's even bigger. One of them came through here in the back end, took down the bridge.
The notion that that bridge was brought down by any amount of walkers standing on it is hilarious.
Maggie, I think they need a break.
They decide that in order to move this wagon, that they'll remove the horses that were pulling it and instead pull it themselves. Like, I get that the horses are tired, but wouldn't you give them an assist in getting it free of the mud, given that even tired horses will still pull something heavy like that way easier than a human can?
We're almost there. One more time. 1, 2, 3.
In spite of there not being that many walkers in sight, and easily a number which they've taken down numerous times in the past, they begin to panic and ignore them, concentrating instead on the wagon. Even worse than this, which I won't send separately but instead will include in this one, is that when they fail soon and the lad gets stupidly bitten and kicked by his horse, they then go and kill them all anyway.
I got a free hurt! Kid, wait!
Rick is awkwardly late in his shouting after this kid, which you'd think he'd yell urgently about, given how a walker must have been a mere 6 to 8 feet away from where he was running to, given how quickly he's grabbed. Also though, this kid fails to notice that same walker, and maybe go to the other side of the horse to free it. Like, you can't not notice it. It's in the middle of a giant empty path. Also though, he gets his arm grabbed and then physically holds it out for the walker to bite. Like, imagine something grabbed your arm. The first thing you do is yank it away, but he literally continues holding it up. It's so unrealistic, it physically injures me. Ugh! I can let it go to a small degree when they're doing this to people who've been decomposing for many years, but the idea that you can easily slide a knife into someone's neck, brain or spine or something, like you're sticking it into a cheesecake, is laughable.
You know, Gregory has been saying he's the one who's always put Hilltop first. My son is dead. Your boy has no father. And those damn saviors eat our food and take everything that Hilltop bled for.
Maggie fails to point out that that doesn't actually mean anything. It doesn't make any sense. Loads of people died while he was in charge. It's not like he ran a flawless camp where no one died. Secondly, her point would only make sense if Glenn was killed as a result of a dumb mission, which he wasn't. And thirdly, she rounds up her stupid argument by bringing into it the saviors and how they share in their food supply, even though Glenn died as a result of trying to fight that very group, to which her point was that he died senselessly. So ultimately, terrible writing right there.
Are faded and gone. No flower of her kindred.
This goes on for quite some time.
Rick Grimes is here.
That's the man that ended the war. Is Negan suffering?
Bruh, talking about him like he's not right in front of you is very bizarre.
Seeing his name on the wall, did we do the right thing? Sometimes I think maybe we just should have killed him.
But killing him wouldn't have changed anything we saw today.
Probably would have made it less likely that they'd have stuck his name on the wall asking for help, but yeah.
He's got me worried about things breaking down.
Well, he wouldn't say something unless it was important. He cares.
Too much sometimes.
How the hell are they writing this stuff? Daryl was saying that the Sanctuary is a hopeless case, that it's bound to fail, and also that he has had enough of being leader there, and wanted to go kind of be free out on the road again, and then in the next scene, they're saying he wouldn't have spoken to Rick if it wasn't important, because he cares, and Rick says, too much sometimes. He cares too much sometimes? About not wanting to be leader? About not thinking the Sanctuary will survive? What are you on about?
If he's worried, there's a reason. So what do we do about it?
I think we need to fix that bridge.
Okay, I'll get the people to agree to a charter.
Not that that has anything to do with the fixing of the bridge, but yeah, let's talk about your thing again, even though it has been a little while since it was last brought up. A light over Rick's head is extinguished when she blows out her candle.
Margaret, yes, look, God, Maggie, what happened?
I literally listened to this 3 times and I still have no idea what he said unless it's straight up mumbling.
You need to sit down. You obviously have a head injury.
You want to leave this place? You can't even murder someone, right? Oh, know that you did this.
I adore how quickly he goes from, my god, you have a head injury, to die, woman! It's so funny, but so poorly done. They have a short conversation with very light insults, and he straight up tries to stab her. It's amazingly sin-worthy.
Bullshit.
You told me that soon you'd be the one following me, but you didn't. Because I wasn't someone to follow. That changes now.
Changes how? You gotta have proven in some way that you can handle a wider array. You gotta have proven in some way that you can handle a wider array of issues outside of your own camp. You can't just say the words and it becomes true. Like, what are your plans, ideas, and so on?
What you're doing isn't right. Killing me in the dead of night because you're ashamed.
She'd only be ashamed if she was doing it with like 5 people present. The time of day really has no impact whatsoever.
Maggie, stop!
No!
Rick's reaction is way too quick here. Like, it's so obviously scripted, because who the hell reacts to her shouting, Maggie, stop! Within less than 1 full second? I mean, she could be yelling that out for any number of reasons, and he's meant to trust her. It's not like they've shown us numerous scenes of her saying, I'm gonna stop this execution and stuff like that, so Rick is expecting it. Nope, she stood there, says what she says, and Rick pounces on her like a bloody puma.
It's not just a bridge. Roads are the lifeblood of civilization. Rome rose and fell with its roads.
Kind of confusing to use an analogy like that, because you're saying roads are the lifeblood of a society, meaning if you don't have them, you're screwed. But then you follow it up by saying Rome rose and fell with its roads. So it fell in spite of its roads and thus its lifeblood? So kind of pointless mentioning it in that context?
Someday you'll cross this bridge with your grandchildren and tell them the story of how it was built.
I'm not gonna bore my grandkids telling them a story about a bridge.
This boring structure connects us all.
He never said the bridge itself was boring. He said he wouldn't want to bore his grandkids telling them about a bridge.
Do you think he'd ever do something like this again?
I didn't think that he'd do it the first time.
Well, you didn't hang him like you did Gregory. There must be a reason for that.
Well, I mean, he never attacked her with a weapon, just his hands, and pretty poorly at that, whereas Gregory admitted to planning the whole thing, and then attacked her with a knife, clearly with the intent to kill. So a huge difference between those two events, and thus the punishments.
Nice. Easy there, buddy. I'm still thirsty.
No, there's not enough. You can't.
Give it a rest, kid.
See, now in my mind, if you want us to get annoyed at this guy, make their interaction more tense. Instead, he thanks the lad, clearly doesn't look to fill his cup up all that much at all, and when he's told there's not enough, shoves him over randomly. It would make far more sense if he ignored him, took a filled cup and tried getting more. It's like they couldn't write the character's actions properly or something.
Back off!
Bullshit.
We keep doing that, they'll see we're all on the same side.
Are we, though? We on the same side, Rick.
Well, you tell me.
Thing is, man, I've been trying to. You don't seem to want to hear it.
Daryl brings up a really weird point, but then never completes it for some unknown reason, and so Rick is unable to point out that Maggie is head of Hilltop, Daryl was head of the Sanctuary, and now Carol is head there. So, like, how are the original group being somehow disenfranchised over anyone else that could lead him to question whose side Rick is on?
I don't have much, but I've still got rights. Are you going to take those away from me, too?
Actually, you don't have any rights. No one has said these are your rights since the end of the world, so where are you getting your magical rights from?
Are you gonna talk to her about it?
Maggie? She'll do what she wants to do.
But what do you think?
She says, but what do you think? Like she's asked him what he thinks the first time, and she didn't.
Careless memory. I didn't mean to.
Earl, you made a mistake. You lost yourself.
One would think if she was so desperate to speak to him that she'd have just spoken to the guy via this window here.
A herd's coming! Bug out, now!
It's always amazing to me how walkers going so damn slowly always manage to gain ground so very fast. Obviously cannot show it on YouTube, but Rick shoots a rope holding the logs, for some reason. I mean, they could have quite easily continued taking them out as they were, or he could have not risked a big old trick shot and cut the rope since it was awkwardly close by anyway, and then amazingly pretty much every walker manages to headbutt the falling wood.
You got something for the pain?
It wouldn't kick in fast enough. We have to do this now.
Could probably still quickly give him something for the pain in general though, no?
But Gregory, he had chance after chance and he wasted them all.
Maggie.
I don't regret what I did, Michonne.
What exactly was Michonne hoping to follow up with here? Maggie's making a lot of sense. The dude straight up tried to shank her randomly, and Michonne never said she was against him being executed, but now all of a sudden she's like anti-death penalty or something, and like, Maggie, come on now. Like what? Where's that coming from?
I put this project first, and you paid the price.
Isn't it more to do with the siren not going off and drawing away the walkers? And not which project was put first? I don't get it.
You hear that? Those are frog mating calls. Must be one wild frog party going on out there.
The bridge, it's not the future. It's a monument to the dead. You're not saving the world, Ray.
I'm always shocked that stupid things are said and no one ever stops and says, what are you talking about, mate? Because Rick is in such a good position to clearly say, I'm doing this for my daughter and her kids one day. People are having children. Those children are benefiting from the booming trade. But no, he's just stood there like the stupid statement has some kind of merit.
One of the saviors. He was missing. Others were getting suspicious. He was found, but he was dead. But it doesn't look like an accident. Someone definitely took him out.
Rick walking on up and taking charge of a situation that I doubt he would have heard much about, given that he only just came within listening distance of it right at the end of the conversation.
Means all of us. Go shovel that horse whoever killed Justin.
No one jumps in here from either side to stop this fight in spite of only just breaking one up. That's highly unlikely when he's the only one stopping them from coming to blows, and loads of them were literally just stopping one another from starting a brawl.
Hey, stop. Let's go. Come on.
It has to be one of the most stupid decisions of all time to very slowly grab some axes and approach a majority of armed people.
Everyone back off! Right now!
Even though these guys were happy to die right there, with one guy welcoming it right there and then, even though he was unarmed, it's Rick on a horse which manages to completely defuse the situation.
You think I'm hiding something?
Bit weird that she saw a plane in the sky and has randomly chosen to keep that little fact to herself.
All the people the kingdom lost. Hilltop, Oceanside. You ever think about what they want?
Daryl be acting as though only one side lost people in their conflict. He's also quite oddly saying they don't get a future like everyone else because they're dead. But they're dead because of that conflict, and many of them died regardless of Rick's actions. Like, for example, the Oceanside male population. So really, what is Daryl even going on about here? Is he saying there never should have been a war, or is he advocating for wiping them all out, including the ones actively following the rules and doing good now? Extremely fortuitous, spontaneous weakening of those previously fairly solid boards.
I know who took Rod.
Shame there was a break there, or else Maggie would have been made aware.
I know you're in range. I saw the helicopter last night.
Ah, okay, fair enough. That's why she never mentioned it. One off the top, please!
But if you don't give up that gun, her life ain't gonna...
Real subtle there, Rick!
We gave Rick's way a chance. It's time to see Negan.
I think her stating that they gave Rick's way a chance is a pointless thing to say here, because she's decided to kill Negan purely because she wants to, not because a series of events have happened which proved Rick was wrong somehow. It's also probably not great that during that same 24-hour period of time, she said that Rick's way was right and it's the best future for her son, and yet the only thing that changed between then and now is that another of the previous saviors had been murdered by a group of vigilantes.
The hunger strike ends today.
Oh, well, if you say so.
I mean, that's what your boyfriend said, so hard to be that if I'm dead from starvation.
Anyone ever spend any time thinking about how someone is clearly cutting Negan's hair but leaving his beard alone? Bit weird, really, when you think about it.
And you really laying this on me? You're the one that had to go chasing after her.
Conveniently forgetting about how he pushed Rick down there and subsequently fell along with him.
Oceanside. Harrod. I'm saying they got what they deserved. You knew, and you didn't say anything.
Rick acting all shocked at that notion, while he's literally just been pushed into a big old hole by the very same dude who tried to keep him away from home while Maggie went to go and kill his prisoner.
And you keep asking us to have faith in all these other people. Truth is, you don't have enough faith in us.
What are you talking about, bruh? You held back info about vigilantes and then pushed him down into a hole! Just now! What are you on about? They show this first view where about 5 or maybe 6 of them are clearly down there and reaching up at the climbing Rick and Daryl, and yet in 15 seconds time they show the ground after another falls in and it's the same wall they're climbing up, and yet there's now no walkers stood below them.
The river. Take him to the bridge. It ain't ever gonna hold him. They'll get washed out to sea.
No, man, I'm not sacrificing the bridge. I'll find another way.
There ain't no other way, man.
I'm not destroying the bridge.
Would a better idea not be to walk behind the hole and draw them to it, given that it's an absolutely huge hole where you could probably fit like 100 of them down there and it's right near them?
Can you kiss right here?
Hey kids, stop looking at the damn camera, you're breaking the fourth wall! Man, in this instance, I get that he's half out of it after going through that situation, but wouldn't you at least let the horse know that you'd like him to speed up a little? Never ceases to amaze me how they can batter in the skull of a walker and yet are never hit by splashback from the blood.
We can go now.
Really? The one time I choose to mention it? Fine!
Hey, hope I'm not.
No, come on.
You're not what? Interrupting a cup of coffee?
What's going on?
Maggie's here.
Aunt Maggie.
One of the guys at the gate told me she just came in.
What?
You know, considering the last time the subject was raised, Michonne was the one asking for Maggie to visit, and before that, Rick has also asked her to. Her shock is a bit too much of one of urgency, isn't it? Like, she's seemingly really jumping to conclusions, since she has no idea about her discussions with Daryl about it, she doesn't know about Daryl stopping Rick from getting back there, she's only hearing that Maggie has turned up, and the first thing she does is run off to Negan to stop a murder!
You think Glenn would want this? For you to go through me to get to him?
I don't know what he'd want. I don't know, because I never got to say goodbye.
Yeah, that's true, but saying goodbye doesn't equal a person spilling their guts about what they'd like you to do in order to achieve a potential revenge, does it? Also though, we all knew Glenn. He was a cool-ass dude. Clearly he would not be okay with her killing Michonne in order to get to Negan. That's you just being a silly little biscuit. You know, it occurs to me that she didn't really think it out all that well, because if she enters that cell, even with a hungry and somewhat depleted Negan, even with a crowbar in hand, my money is all the way on Negan to take it from her and bash her head in. Not a wonderful plan.
Get on your knees.
Such a dumb plan. What if he just says no? Why would he comply with that when he's safely inside a cell?
I remember how much I broke you breaking open your husband's head like I did.
Glenn. His name was Glenn. What you did to my husband.
What he did to Glenn?
Bullshit.
Yeah. I know.
Don't get me wrong, this is a good final episode for Rick as a character, but since this is everything wrong with, I'd be very remiss if I didn't point out the rather glaring green screen. In the previous scene, he was on this stretch of road heading for the bridge and they were hot on his heels, and yet he was able to fall down, pass out for any length of time, and still have this much distance on them. What, did he friggin' sprint to the bridge?
I found him.
Now how the heck did Rick end up here? Did the explosion that clearly destroyed the centre of the bridge, and not where he was stood on it, manage to suck him towards it and into the water?
You got names?
Magnus.
This tiny little girl handling that big old cannon expertly and not missing a single headshot from inside the damn forest.
Judith. Judith Grimes.
Well, not gonna lie, that was beyond cringe.
Judith! Jude!
Jude!
I'm here!
As opposed to yelling that out when you're clearly within shouting distance, because staying silent till the last minute is what the kids consider to be cool nowadays.
They need food and water and medicine.
How do you know they need medicine? One of them is slightly being propped up after hitting her head, but she doesn't need medicine, she needs a bandage. God, this girl is going to annoy me, I can already tell.
Is there any part of this place that's not falling apart?
Our loyalty to you, my queen.
If I haven't after all these years, it's probably not going to happen.
Ooh, very convenient pipe bursting. I don't mean to sound cruel, that's not my intention, but I don't understand how it's been the end of the world for so many years and yet still you got fat people. How are you managing to eat so many excess calories and not move around enough to stay fat?
No disrespect, but maybe their fate is something we should decide together.
It'll be dark soon. First thing tomorrow, we can bring them before the council for a vote.
So wait, you've got rules that categorically state that you can't bring in any new people, but you've also got a council who you then ask if you can break the rules sometimes? Sounds very counterproductive.
But she's just being modest. She exposed a bunch of sleazeball politicians and put them behind bars.
Funny how she's still got that amount of gusto in her for something someone else did like 8 years ago?
She says she's my guardian angel.
That's a really stupid way to sell yourself to these people who clearly have food, shelter and safety. I'm not going to say what I'm good at, I'm going to say I'm this random woman's guardian angel, like that actually means something to anyone.
But really it's the other way around.
Then the other girl follows it up by saying the same thing about her.
Recognizes our fellow council person and head of security.
What was with that look? She gives him a look first of like, ugh, formalities, and then she looks at them like they're all pieces of shizzle, you feel me? I don't get that.
You get that at a truck stop?
Okay, I'll bite. How did she know that was there? Because that's an amazing guess based on literally zero evidence.
Screw you.
Way to win them over instead of just explaining.
All clean? You sure about that?
Indeed.
I remember.
So Michonne clearly knew that she had a knife. She said as much when she questioned if the dude who searched her had properly searched her, and yet she still let her keep the knife till now. What the hell is going on? You wouldn't do that. Oh, I'll assume she'll not use the knife overnight on any of our people, and let her keep it till tomorrow's meeting for effect.
I second the motion.
Good thing these votes aren't official, otherwise officially speaking she'd be listed as absent and her vote wouldn't count. Even more so because she never actually stated her position. She made it pretty clear, but she never actually said she didn't want them there. She also seconded his motion to allow for the vote to let them stay, and then left before giving her own vote. Very confusing series of events.
I think they're good people.
Yeah, I mean, prison doesn't mean shit without knowing the whole story, and Michonne knows it.
Yeah, she also did keep a weapon on her though, didn't she?
But they're here. They're here until the one in the infirmary is back on her feet. So there's still time for her to change her mind.
Wait, I thought it was all about the important vote and not whether or not she changed her mind. It's meant to be a democracy, isn't it? So what, is her vote the one tying up the whole thing, making it not tip one way or the other, or what? You gotta at least tell us that.
You sure?
What?
Whoa!
Wait, Henry!
Also though, in this world, how are you going to let your wife and adopted son travel all that way out there on their own? Especially when he's still young and she's now really old. Makes no sense at all. Are the areas around there that safe now? Because clearly not. Also though, the idea that you can raise a kid during the end of the world and not expressly impress upon that kid the dangers of the world is ridiculous. One of the main rules would naturally be that you do not just run off towards any person crying for help, you stick together and stuff. But no, they're seemingly out there teaching math.
But she could be back on her feet by tomorrow.
But should she be?
That's not for me to say.
I get what he's saying, but that is actually for him to say, given that he's the doctor there. Like, he could say, yeah, she can be up and about, but she'll keel over and die in a day or two, which makes the whole treatment of her entirely pointless. But he's saying it's not his call to let them stay, which it's not, but clearly they're letting them stay till she is healed, which is up to what he says, so it makes no sense.
Henry, don't!
Also though, slowest reactions of all time. This dude is holding them up for ransom essentially, and the kid has time to flick up and grab his stick and attack him before the dude even moves an inch.
Henry, don't!
Also though, you can clearly see that the guy had fallen to the ground in front of him, and yet he is able to quite clearly, within eyesight, get up and then get behind the kid in order to jump him. Lastly, Carol just stands there and does absolutely nothing. Doesn't warn him, doesn't try to help, and she is the only one that's in an even better position to see what this guy right in front of her is about to do.
I don't get it. You didn't even try.
There's no point.
She doesn't just point out to him that they were massively outnumbered. Now you might be thinking that this cancels out sin number 107, but it doesn't, because whilst outnumbered, he had chosen to attack and done so successfully. Now, if she's to be believed that she didn't do anything through fear of losing him, then that's a silly thing to do in that situation, that being not attacking after he regained his weapon, because they may have just killed him for attacking them.
If Bernie could see this place, see what life we could live.
How does this make any sense for her character? She's going on and on about how she wants to stay really badly. She wants her injured friend to experience this place. She doesn't want to risk going back outside. Yet she kept a knife on her and another bladed weapon around her neck. How does that add up? She's desperate to stay there in safety, yet kept 2 knives on her and assassed one of the main leaders on multiple occasions.
You know he wanted us to have it, right?
We don't have a choice.
We fight.
I'm sorry? Is she advocating that the 3 women, one of whom is death, and the overweight dude try and overthrow the place that has dozens of armed guards using a necklace knife? This deaf girl doesn't even want to try and convince Michonne to let them stay. Like, that's her preferred option. She doesn't even want to try and speak to her. This is so beyond stupid and beyond what people would ever actually do in this situation. It physically hurts me.
That stuff belonged to people I knew.
Am I supposed to believe that she came there without anything to light that fuel and then was hoping to find the match he was carrying around in his mouth? Or did she think it would be cool to risk her entire plan by maybe waking him up to look cool and burn them all with his match? Also though, not a single one of the 6 or more people inside that building wake up while they literally have a conversation before she burns them. Also, not one of them makes it out of the building. So did she cover each of them in oil in order to get them all? And again, none of them woke up from any of that action. I really can't look past none of them even trying to get out of the building, get away from the fire like you naturally would, as seemingly all of them continue laying there, screaming whilst on fire, accepting their fate randomly. Oh, this makes me so angry. She wants to stay, really badly wants to stay, and she thinks, oh, I know the ideal plan. I'll go and murder the leader. That'll help.
Cool? No, it's not cool. I want my damn knives.
I really do find it physically painful, like my head is in a vice. She gave her the knife the previous night, quite happily handed it over, and now, instead of being kicked out, they're being taken somewhere safe, and very audibly, she's now bitching about wanting her knives back. I absolutely cannot believe the writing on her as a character. Probably one of the worst I've ever seen in this show, to be honest. I'm gonna cut it right before she hits the walker with the rock, but goddamn, if you want to pretend that it's a real rock and not styrofoam, you might want to act like it weighs less than a bag filled with feathers.
We're taking what's ours.
No. I'm not letting my men take 5 armed strangers into...
Once again, this girl knows that she isn't getting her weapons back. That's been established, but for some bizarre reason, she was utterly convinced that upon getting to their old hideout and collecting their old weapons, that randomly, Michonne would be all like, oh yeah, these weapons you can bring with you, just not that little necklace life and stuff, because that'd be deadly. I don't get it! The idea that this dude could gain this much height without an extremely obvious run and jump in this empty clearing.
Oh, sorry.
As a teacher, he gets angry when he gets slightly hurt while sparring, and so takes the opportunity to really give the guy a good few solid kicks, like a good teacher would.
Your dog always do that?
He's got his reasons.
Not what he asked in regard to him dropping a walker foot there, but okay.
I can't.
I said, drop it.
You don't understand.
As opposed to saying, it's a violin, not a weapon, or maybe just putting it down.
Follow me.
Everyone just endlessly sneaking up on people. Literally no one uses their voices. I know that's the only way you can get anything close to a scare when the walkers are as slow as they are, but Jesus.
What are you doing out here?
He asks this like he knows Daryl's routine, or that it's somehow abnormal for him to be out at night at his own camp where he stays alone.
Well, she knows where I'm at. She knows how to find me.
She shouldn't have to.
Even though just a couple of scenes prior to this, the kid was annoyed at Carol wanting to set up Daryl coming to Hilltop with the lad to kind of watch over him, and now he's acting like it's what he's been wanting all of this time as well. Although the argument is kind of flawed, since she's already stated she'll be going back to the kingdom, and he's arguing for Daryl to go to Hilltop, so it's not like they'll be reunited or anything. There's a girl using a friggin' slingshot, now I've seen it all.
I kept my promise to Judith.
No, you didn't. You allegedly promised to bring them to Hilltop. You're not doing that, you little liar.
Let them know Michonne and the others are headed to Hilltop. Tell them we're safe.
Once that very simple message has been relayed, why would you need them to travel all the way to Alexandria for that? They gotta do like a whole day's ride to turn up and give that information when 3 of theirs are already headed to Hilltop anyway? Are you planning an entire convoy with which to pick up one woman?
Riders are coming! 6. No.
Yes, needlessly keeping everyone in suspense for the sake of it. Also though, mildly strange that they never reacted this way to Daryl and Carol turning up just beforehand. You'd think the people on patrol would know the leader of their biggest ally in the nearby camp, given that she's quite distinctive looking.
We're here for Rosita.
We met your messengers on the road. They told us what happened.
And the others?
I get that there's been a breakdown in the relationship in terms of trade and stuff, but does that really require what could come across as borderline hostility towards someone who is still clearly at the very least a friendly?
Just got these back.
Enter the natural successor to Attitude Zeta!
Same. Who are your friends?
We're not friends yet.
Oh, she's so annoying! Like, truly sim-worthy. Like I said, worst character in this show by a long mile.
Rosita's at Hilltop. I sent her out, and she got hurt. And I can't go to help her because I have to be here with you. Because somebody has to stay behind to be responsible for you.
Poor old church dude talks about having to stay there in order to look after Negan, and I, for one, feel bad for the guy. If only there was another person who could bring some food and change a bedpan. Oh, there's a guy.
You just gotta keep moving forward. Life's too short.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yay! More teenagers doing teenager stuff.
No, we have to help him. I know where he is. I'm gonna take you to him.
Rosita, stop, okay? Whatever's going on, they can handle it.
No, they can't. They have no idea what they're dealing with.
Oh, if only they didn't have to cut to adverts, she might have been able to actually say what's going on.
Come on, ride the lightning. It's last laughs.
Why is he exhausted after jumping into a pit and very easily taking out one walker? Can't be the booze either, he literally had one sip.
What the hell are you doing here? Earning our keep.
Both of them managed to follow Michonne without her being aware of it, and on top of that, it also means that they left Hilltop extremely soon after she did, and since Michonne left by horse, it also means that both of them convinced Hilltop to allow them to borrow horses like hours after they first met them. That is some very trusting Hilltopians and a very unaware Michonne-nian.
Get him out of here. Go, I got this.
Why don't you both go, since the gates are pretty much open and the last bit requires some extra muscle, and there's not been any more walkers for a little while? I can't believe that knowing what they know just happened, that being Jesus getting taken out by a dude in a walker skin mask, that Michonne decides it would be best to hang back and defend their retreat and then very casually walk towards the gate facing away from all of the walkers and potential whisperers among them. I also can't believe that they didn't think to do something else to keep the gate locked, like maybe quickly pushing the dirt back in front of it that initially stopped them from being able to easily open it. Like, they did have a little time. Anyone else kind of mildly irritated that no one decided to at least lock the door leading to the room with his cell in it? I mean, come on, it's like the easiest second security measure of all time. It's a door that leads right to it. Hold up, it's now freaking daytime and he's still wandering around in there?
Thought you were smarter than this. I guess not.
So let me get this straight. She just so happened to get up really early, in her jams, grab her gun from the nightstand, then went for a stroll along the walled perimeter, and in spite of never once seeing this guy face to face in her entire life, is so extremely and unrealistically casual witnessing his escape attempt and knowing that she has to stop him, I call the biggest of all bull. Okay, for how they captured this one in the whole scene, that gets a sin off. Finally something clever. Take that sin off, you silly sandwich, you! This looks like the most half-assed attempt to open a door that I've ever seen. Probably because he wasn't meant to get it open for a few bashes against it until the doggo was almost upon him. Also, take another sin here for extremely slow doggos. Doggos are extremely fast. I have doggos and can attest to doggo speed, especially since he has time to open the door, grab the walker, push it in, and shut the door before the good boy has a chance to catch him, and in reality, it would have been on him before he even got it open.
Alright, come on.
This dude on the horse in classic The Walking Dead style doesn't react to the walker coming into view from behind the tree until this dude has already fallen over, having been grabbed at the ankle. Also though, the notion that this dude never noticed the walker kind of attached to the other one's leg, like you'd easily spot that as your eyes take in the whole scene right away. Finally, would you really risk a javelin throw when you could easily miss a target the size of a small watermelon, when you could just as easily run up and take them on?
So she's leaving these for us to find then. This is a trail.
Or just a couple stray shots.
If that was the case, surely there would be plenty of dead walkers laid around the place, though.
We were good. It's what we did to live. That's all we wanted to do.
I legit cannot believe that in these circumstances they decided to leave the boy who got a bit drunk locked up in there. This is absolutely beyond hilarious, bruh. No, a punishment is a punishment. He's still got 6 hours left on his drunken disorderly sentence.
Apologies for the attempted bites and scratches. Involuntary pain responses and whatnot.
The idea that he allegedly tried to bite him during this, but quite clearly had his knee popped in without issue and he didn't scream during the process at all. So when did he try and bite them? I don't know, just a weird thing to add. He might even be joking. But she certainly didn't react like it was a joke, and the doctor replied, "It's alright," to the apology.
I knew who I was at the kingdom. But who am I here?
Daryl isn't all like, bruh, you were here like 12 hours, and yet you went through all of this mental stuff so quickly. He didn't even have a single sleep there before he went off drinking. Like trying to say, I don't know who I am here. It's so dumb when it's not even been a day.
Do you want to die? Is that it?
Daryl, what's your problem?
Quiet!
This kid being all like, this is unusual, when it's pretty much exactly the tact he took the previous day when he interrogated her.
You gotta count. Walls.
Walls? Walls don't keep you safe.
Well, you know they do. That's one of the main perks of having a wall. People have been using them for tens of thousands of years, in fact, for pretty much that one purpose. Protection from stuff, you silly goose you. Are you kidding me? Are you joking around? This girl again is off on her own and she's like 7 years old or something, and again she magically figured out not only where he would be, but that the man dressed in entirely different clothing now on a bike was in fact definitely Negan?
I told you there was nothing out there.
You sure as did.
Language. I'm a kid.
Oh, the cringe is real with this one.
Not gonna lie, walking around in dead people's skins is pretty messed up.
Thinking this place isn't gonna fall like every other place. That's messed up.
Well, I mean, he hasn't said anything about that. In fact, not even Daryl mentioned that. He mentioned something about walls, and she went off on a tangent about how walls don't protect you and places like this always fall. But no one else has mentioned it. Also, no, clearly walking around in a dead person mask is more messed up if you're playing, which is more messed up.
And what if we don't?
We will. Let's go.
Either this girl is a close talker or that was a super unnecessary borderline aggressive move right there. Regardless, it's pretty randomly sim-worthy.
You want my other egg? I could roll it to you.
You don't have to take care of me.
Says the girl who said the previous night, "Thank you for saving me," and now she's going all feminist when the dude offers her a bloody egg.
I'm sorry if I don't want to orphan my kid.
You saying I do?
No. No,
Don't you ever suggest that I don't care about my kid. You hear me?
we're not going. What are you doing?
Goddamn, I really wish that this woman would keep to one personality lane. She keeps on flitting between aggressive wife and mother, terrified wife scared of potentially getting hit, aggressive mother, scared wife when he grabs the scissors, to confusing wife being all like, "What are you doing?" Like cutting a beard is such a weird thing to witness. Pick a lane! This is all from one scene!
Wait, you were listening?
Yeah, of course we were. Me, Enid, and a few of the others, we've been switching off.
Alright, they can take that sin back for keeping him down there with her. At least there was some reasoning there. It just occurred to me as well, but where are her and the lad going to the loo? There's clearly no toilet in either of the cells. I haven't seen a bedpan either. Holding everything in for days, are we?
I don't give a shit what you do with your life, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna let you risk ours. You're weak.
Grown man becomes unable to defend himself as his arms stop working while a middle-aged woman is on top of him. What? What even killed him? She didn't even have his nose covered. Did he forget to breathe through his nose? Oh dear lord, that was brilliant. Also though, have you ever seen any mixed martial arts events? Like, with a neck choke, you can make someone go completely out by cutting off oxygen to the brain, but as soon as you release the chokehold, they start breathing again and most of the time are up and about within 30 seconds. For her to have killed him, first of all, she'd really have had to have blocked his nose, otherwise he'd breathe through that. But secondly, she'd have to keep holding him like that for a solid 30 seconds longer. This is just one of the most sinfully unrealistic scenes I've ever seen in The Walking Dead. So, was the whole scared girl routine on every prior visit by him an attempt to make him lower his guard? Because if so, she picked just about the worst time possible to pull this stunt, given the obvious increase in trust right there. Just made no sense at all, to be honest. Also, she clearly doesn't want to be killed, since when they captured her, she gave up the knife begging them not to kill her. But now, when she knows they might want to kill her, she decides to randomly attack him after keeping up a facade the entire time?
Well, how about we go? Who else?
I love the way she asks for a vote in a raised voice like the deaf girl can hear her when she's facing away. So this is the guy who died, what, 3 months ago? Maybe even longer, given that the father was freshly shaven at the time, and now this night he's got a full-on beard again, and yet he's not even, like, at all decomposed? Second sin here is for the fact that they've lived down there with this corpse for months and he never woke up, even though walkers have been doing that forever. Third sin is for the fact that no one thought to get the body outside. Hell, even to put it in a corner. No, instead they put it right in the middle of the room for months. Final sin here is for them saying before the guy cut his beard that they were going to leave that basement because they were running out of food and supplies, yet they've clearly not ventured out this entire time. Like I said, maybe 3 or 4 months or longer in the time it took for him to fully regrow his beard back, and yet they're still getting by completely fine. Since had they gone to get new food, they definitely would have taken the corpse out. Essentially, this is by far the most sinful episode of the entire show's 9 seasons for me. I cannot believe they made a mistake like that.
Yeah, you don't belong with these people. Maybe you used to, but not anymore. You're hard, they're soft.
What is she basing any of this on, when she hasn't even so much as spoken to another person other than the boy? Are we meant to believe that in spite of only having been there for a few days, these guys were able to find out about the kid's secret escape route outside, and none of the people who've been living there for years know about it?
You could have just asked me to help.
Kid complains about having been spied upon and then openly does the same thing himself.
Look, I know Lydia's people are bad, but that doesn't mean she's bad at all. She's just scared.
Daryl doesn't say about how she was actively following them, how she drew a knife on them, how she attacked him the moment he chose to show her some kindness, how he's trying to help her by talking through it, and she's responding with statements very indicative of wanting to take them all out, but none of that matters because, oh, bless the girl who was being hit, am I right? At this point, I'm genuinely thinking that he's doing all of this because the girl he fancied for 6 hours turned out to have a boyfriend, and he wants a girlfriend desperately.
They are. Check how they turn. The dead don't do that.
They can all do and understand sign language and yet decide to, potentially in enemy territory no less, do the sign language while also speaking out loud.
If we had a vote, we had a choice. Our choice was not to die. Was it? Or is that what we keep telling ourselves? Look out!
Forest Ninja Walker! They come out of nowhere and they attack you real quick. They make no sense because they do not make sound. Forest Ninja Walker! Also though, why are you having this conversation now of all the times? It was literally her idea. She pushed for it. Just now. Please, God.
I can't leave him out here. But I can't.
Oh dear lord, this is a comedy! I didn't realise, I'm sorry! You see, this woman, not Adjunct the second, but the other woman, pushed for them to go out searching. Hell, she even said it's about sticking together no matter what. Now, because one walker showed up and a few others are around, she decides, oh, that was a terrible plan, so let's head back. Now, that's a sin, obviously, since I just did it. But now they're actually splitting up. So now her notion from before about staying together, ride or die, no matter the cost, is thrown out the window so fast.
And I want to show you that this is a good place with good people.
They gave him the key. He found the key. The key wasn't guarded, and this makes no sense. I hate this so much, it pains me inside.
You still have those pills?
Are the pills in the ladle then?
You're just gonna wait here for me to come back. I'm just gonna go and make sure that we can get to the stairs, all right?
She talks about all of them leaving, and then he basically agrees, but because he gets knocked against a wall, she goes and murders the dude. Extremely random. However, here I will take one off for the personality switching mother during the flashback, since clearly she wasn't actually like that and it's what her mother told her, but the rest I assume did go down as she told them, since clearly there was a walker down there suddenly with them. She says, what? All scared, but then when they show what she's looking at, it's her friends, and then the whisperers afterwards. So when Michonne turned up, they were on ultra high alert, managed to get everyone inside before they even got close with their horse and car, and yet here they managed to get extremely close to the camp before anyone even noticed.
Maggie's not exactly the biggest fan of Michonne right now.
So we thought you could hold on to it.
Alright, I'll give them back another one here as well, since they do go a little more in depth about what split up the communities, leading to some bad blood, so fair enough.
Yeah, it's a little arthritis flare, but you two are acting like I'm on my deathbed.
Well, start with that. See how you do. You should really think about taking a break.
Well, the young girl right after this certainly doesn't sound like she's making any fuss. Just says maybe take a break and I'll give you some pills, so hardly acting like he's on his deathbed. And also he fails to mention how he also burnt himself. What idiot thinks it's an overreaction to even be seen by a doctor when you literally burn yourself? Sounds more like he's trying to look cool, like they're fawning over him. I'm a tough guy. Meanwhile, they're both awkwardly chill.
They don't see her.
What gave it away? Literally none of them going over to her or looking at her?
Means to live in silence. The mother can't quieten the child, and the dead will. Natural selection.
That's an oddly weird take on natural selection. Like if you're not born a super baby capable of never once crying, then you deserve to be eaten. Imagine talking exclusively about how fragile this bulb is and how it must be protected, and then you get slightly nudged and toss that thing like you're throwing it into the end zone. I'm going to level with you, most of my audience is from the US, and I hope I got that reference right.
Ah!
Considering that the barricade is obviously going to break, why not just take that opportunity to really easily take out quite a few of them right now, especially since they have spears?
I think you know better than anyone what we just sent her back to. How can you live with that?
Because the alternative was 2 of their people dying, whereas in this situation a girl went back to her mother who, while yes she is a crazy bitch, won't just up and kill her. What? She wasn't even really involved with much of it at all. How the hell has this affected her? She didn't capture the girl, she didn't speak to her, turn her around onto the right path. I mean, was she even really all that aware that she had been turned kind of good? She's just such a random person to say she can't live with it.
I broke my own rules coming to get you. What do I get in return? Excuses.
She literally never gave a single excuse. She just mentioned what she learned while there. I'm not going to pick this scene to pieces, instead I'll round up why it's getting a sin. Michonne is absolutely right, trading with the Kingdom carries massive risks. The roads are terrible and hard enough to pass without a band of killers out there hunting them. The only counter argument from the priest dude is, I think we should go because reasons. He literally doesn't say anything other than complain. Meanwhile, the doc only poses philosophical stuff. What does it mean if Alexandria survives while the Kingdom doesn't? It doesn't mean anything. You're dealing with reality. If the Kingdom can't make it, why would you funnel resources to a failing community? Especially when Michonne said she'd take them in. Just a 3-minute long argument where no one gave any arguments.
No, I think you decided to take your shot out there, and out there spit you out, so you dragged your pathetic ass right back here.
So, does this mean that he didn't go with the little annoying girl back there then? She shot him off the bike, they chatted, they walked off in the same direction, but then he decided to make his own way back there? And she met back up with the others, I'm guessing, and then decided to just not say anything to anyone about it, like any regular 7-year-old would. Can't show it, obviously, but she essentially garrots the woman's head clean off, to which I call massive.
Bull. Have you been talking to him? Why?
I feel sorry for him.
He is not your friend, sweetheart.
Well, obviously.
So if he's not your friend, then why are you talking to him?
Because she feels sorry for him. She literally just said that. She didn't say because he's my friend.
He listens to me. Not everybody does.
Oh, such a dumb statement after Michonne allowed those people inside Alexandria that she brought in. Then she found them a safe place to stay at the hilltop and even personally took them there. What the hell else has she said that Michonne hasn't listened to?
And if we ever let him out, it would start all over again.
But Mom, he did get out. He's not like that anymore.
But people don't really change.
You did.
So she knows Michonne's backstory so well that she can confidently bring that up in a conversation to make a point? What, did she sit down and say, oh, your mother here used to do this and that, and what, painted herself in such a bad light that the kid could remember that and bring it up now?
I'm gonna be one of them.
Can't show it, but this dude is way too cool about Beta pushing his neck to one side in order to see his bite wound, and blood is pouring out of that bad boy like it's on a hose, which funny enough it is. But yeah, if someone did that, you'd shove their hand away, not just sit there with your neck at an angle while you lose another half a pint.
They must have been watching and heard me talking about the fair. I'm sorry, boss, I screwed up.
The trade fair is hardly a secret.
Well, it's not a secret in your own community or even among the other communities, but it definitely should have remained a secret from outsiders because they're not exactly chilling with your guys and such.
Like you hadn't hurt yourself enough lately.
Oh, and I suppose you're getting younger?
Are you kidding? After being up all night with this little bundle of joy, my back is shot to hell.
Couldn't sit down with it then, no?
Hey. Is there anything I can do?
This girl really is a close talker after all.
Come on. You can help Paul.
Imagine being needed to be told to pick up the wood and move it from the road when it's clearly the only thing that they're doing and it being the reason why they're stopped.
I hope for a better future. But it looks like violence is the only currency of this future, same as the old one.
This dude is acting like they were planning on inviting literally everyone inside for the event. Like, of course there are crazy people out there. That won't ever change, but it wasn't ever meant for them, was it?
I mean, they sent a letter for crying out loud. A grammatically correct one, too. That sounds pretty civilized, doesn't it?
Wait for Carol to get cancelled for suggesting if you can't write well, you're not civilized.
If I'm wrong, and they don't listen, then we'll kill them.
Meanwhile, they've got guns and you've got bows and arrows, so in theory they could capture the leader, the queen, and most of the other people capable of fighting and either ransom them and guarantee getting what they demand, or they kill them, rock up to the gates and take over the entire place, especially if they've been listening and watching for a while and they figure this is pretty much all of their best fighters, which it is, so not a great plan by any means, to be honest. She can lip read you, dude.
Nah.
then what was the point in her even coming along in the first place? She said she couldn't live with having sent the girl back to her mother, and now she's saying that they should just leave the girl out there regardless? Also, if her point is that she thought mega quick when Daryl showed her the boy's letter saying he was heading out to find her, and she thought, I can't live with him having gone out there to get her, then in a way that's even more random because A, her brain worked overtime to come up with her feelings on the situation within 10 seconds of hearing about it, and B, she doesn't even know the boy, like at all, never spoken once. Oh, by the way, no pun intended with her having not heard about it. Let's be real, if they had bullets, they would have started firing right away. You'd assume that arrow to the doll was a miss. Also though, the idea that literally not a single one of them managed to do anything. This means all of their people snuck in with a success rate of 100% on their intended target and got a knife to their throat or an arrow to their head without absolutely even one person reacting first. She managed to get up there in order to fire off the first warning shot without making a single sound in a massive warehouse that would echo like crazy, and at the time no one was even speaking. Unless she did it when they were speaking, but even then, no sound at all?
When's the last time any of you have seen a movie?
Seriously?
This is what I genuinely dislike about The Walking Dead nowadays. It started off so dark and gritty, and now she's using movies to bargain a trade with these guys. Like, I wouldn't care about a movie, and I don't think any of you would either. I think logically we would care about food and water. Just what helps you survive. Jesus.
Hey, Tara. Sickos.
Bruh, is it just me, or would they not have been able to pretty easily roll this tree out of the way, given that they've got like 15 people there? I swear, even me on my own, with one other dude, could probably shift it off the car at least. How do people get jumped like this? Do they have no peripheral vision? As opposed to doing this at the start and arming yourself rather than waiting till you're completely surrounded.
Oh, Tara, just run!
Telling her to run when she's right there and there's no other walkers immediately surrounding them. Unless she knows the guy, that was a very weird stare at one another while there's still walkers all over the place. Would have seemed to be an awesome time to ask the girl who this Beta is and what he looks like, given that she said he's the best that they have and that her mother would be sending him, and then he could take him out from up there. Also though, it only just occurred to me that they had petrol stored in that building by the deaf girl and her crew, plus loads of bottles of water, so they could have drank those, filled them up with petrol, and then lit them up, throwing them down on them. Perfect plan, especially since the walkers would attack any of the Whisperers freaking out by the fire or being on fire themselves. How though? Can't show it, but dying instantly from a stab to the middle of the back. Just so much unrealistic actions. Like if you're grabbed from behind, imagine not making a single sound for a solid 3 seconds. And on top of that, he takes him out with his own knife. Like you have no idea how hard that would be to do. It's not even funny.
Where is she?
If he clearly wasn't holding him down so well, then why pretend at the start like he is? Do you know what I mean? If Daryl is clearly able to push himself up and attack, then he was never really being held down to the blade properly anyway. He survives this and doesn't seemingly break anything.
Well, this little fella lost his parents, so we brought him here to find someone that might take him in, but...
Earl, I'm not letting go of this baby.
Well, at least you discussed it as a man and wife. Michonne is like, I only knew you for 12 hours and I have no idea how to sign, but okay.
What would my dad do? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Ugh, they're trying painfully hard to make kids wise in this damn show, and it's very annoying.
You found me after 15 years.
Technically the other way around, but yeah. With what? Daryl and Nat were heading to the kingdom, and once again this little, after a quick Google search finally, 10-year-old girl decided to just head out there to find them, and do what? Also, how the hell is she even getting out with a bike? Is she climbing over that giant ass wall with it when she's like 3.5 feet tall? A very small 10-year-old can knock her out using the handle of a knife.
All this time I thought you didn't remember. I hoped you didn't. And you never said anything after that first year.
Because it made you sad.
You assume since you never brought it up to her like she just said.
That's not what Carl or your dad gave their lives to create.
Rick didn't really give his life for that notion. Coral Reef definitely did, since he died while saving that doctor. But Rick just died protecting them from a herd, I guess.
You were right. We have to protect the people we love.
Imagine being constantly swayed by the simplistic arguments of a 10-year-old rather than your own counsel. I mean, I know they give terrible arguments, but they're still better than hers.
Do you think it'll leave a scar?
No. But it's okay if it does.
All of this damn talk about the dangers out and about on the road, and then Michonne decides to go out with a couple of horses on an old slow car with just her and the kid.
We must tell Alpha.
What happened to whispering?
You should really make more of these. Seriously. People would love them.
Miles.
What? You thought he would like it? Why is it a Miles situation at the notion of other people liking them?
I'm gonna trade these for the perfect gift. You'll see.
He's the one who said people would like them! Discount Glenn.
Let the first annual Inter-Community Reunification Fair begin! Jerry, we changed that.
For reals?
F-A-I-R fair?
It's 2 minutes. Never mind.
Seen better arms on the Spiral Galaxy. You couldn't even dunk a donut, let alone.
CGI.
I want to hear my crooner boyfriend croon.
Boyfriend?
Wait, it just came out. You're my boyfriend. I mean, I think you are you?
God, if you wanted this show to feel more like a soap and less of a thriller, then definitely include people not wanting to push their relationship status on their partners. Oh gosh, hope I didn't call him my boyfriend too quickly. Not that she knew that before darting off into the crops, though. In fact, now that her sister has brought it up, it is a little bit weird that she did go and hide in those crops randomly, since she had more than enough time to catch up and get inside. Also though, why is she bringing up the baby and stuff when she was back inside Hilltop after that happened, and then left again with Daryl later on that night? I'm so confused!
So you go. Make sure we have a home to come back to.
We're splitting up.
Just for now.
Hey, I mean, you can't lean back on that now like it's still a thing after you left the two sisters in the forest alone in the dead of night.
I figure if I can get it up and running, that repeater we set up might allow us all to talk to each other. Despite the great distance and our even greater differences, it'd be nice.
Poor time to bring up differences when in the end everyone did come together here and even signed an agreement to begin trading and looking out for one another again. Really should have said this during the last episode.
She's got a thing for Henry. I'd say by the looks of it, he's got a thing for her too.
I can't believe Gage and Rodney would say that to you.
So it's not true?
I don't know why he wouldn't. They're quite clearly a massive pair of douchebags, as he's already experienced firsthand. Man, these guys really got to work on their green screens for the next season. People keep on dying in this show without making a single sound or trying to defend themselves in literally any way. It's just, oh, I've been stabbed. I must accept my fate. alright, I'll bite. How the hell did they get everyone out of there?
It was evil, and I think she left me alive to tell you that story. To scare you, and to drive us all apart again.
Well, that's a dumb conclusion. If you want to drive them all away from one another, you most definitely don't go and kill a pretty equal number of people from each camp, thus driving them together in equal hatred and a will for revenge. So there's so much pausing in the middle of sentences here that I'm not even going to tackle it during editing, but it's very weird asking Daryl to leave when they get to Hilltop so he can be alone with Carol. Like, why? He doesn't even say if he thinks Carol fancies Daryl or what. I don't know. It's weird. I don't get it. The idea that this girl managed to sneak away when she was pretty close to the front of a massive convoy.
People actually lived here.
Yeah, but you could literally say that about any other place in the world that's been left derelict for a long while. Shockingly, no one reacts to this for quite some time.
Hey!
Oh, these sassy walkers always reacting in groups instead of one by one, which would be realistic.
Henry said I was a good person, but he was wrong. As long as I'm one of you, it's never gonna stop.
Well, I mean, it has stopped ever since they took out all of those people, and they never attacked back, oddly enough, but whatever. They haven't done anything since. That kid certainly didn't act like that was his legit mother. Nathan Bird, Bird Without a Word, Hayden White, PK Fan, Ali 50, Ryan Anderson, Israel Caldera, Chris Harris, Yona Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Luis Hernandez, Kim Munt, Jason Davies, Yuki Ali, Manuel Morales, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Blitzcloud, Horror Keeper, Steelers, Kimi O, Sentimento, Jeffa6263, Master Tank, Kevin Nelter, Brendan Krier, Storm 970, Mr. Waffle 64, Kaj Vorzorman, Jordan Samuels, Sean Graves, The Epic Commander, Crimson Shadows, Kyle Farmer, Buzzbomb 3000, Adora Blue.